for your patience, typically in a corporate meeting setting that's not run by Vince Lombardi. 5 minutes early is on time. You start a minute late and extend a little grace to everyone who's lagging behind. In my
That's what I like.
brain, yeah. I see the guys from the office, housing a chicken salad sandwich while they, which is
Yeah.
disgusting on every level.
Oh, I was looking on my face for some of this Indian leftovers. I just scarfed down. I did a little mountain bike ride over at Mastodon, and I'm like looking at the timer, and I'm like, okay, I've got 47 minutes to get back for this thing. Take a shower, eat something, and then look presentable. Good thing there's not a smell-o-vision.
my
Just kidding. I actually took a shower. I smell great. I smell great. Trust me.
um, we run this winter event. It's USA Triathlon Winter National Championships for duathlon and triathlon. It's called the Breckenbeiner, which is a riff on the Birkebeiner, which the guy who runs the Birkebeiner loves. He was so good natured about it. And It's a really fun event. It's beautiful, and it's at the Gold Run Nordic Center. And like all events, it's just all consuming. So like a month out, like it requires every bit of your attention. And what it actually does is put me really far behind on everything Brett Epic related. So it's 12:01. Thank you for joining my Breckenbeiner story. Sorry, Liz Kolar from USA Triathlon, who's watching. Um, I'm going to try and not say very much because when I watched the last one, I just pretty much held my head in my hands. Thank you for joining us today. This is the second of the Epic webinar series. The first was hosted with Taylor Brower and Uriel Carlson. Taylor was from Scratch Labs. They're our new nutrition partner. Uriel is our official dietitian and nutritionist. She is an epic competitor. She's a coach. She's a magnificent human being, and she is the founder of Inner Wild Nutrition. And Scratch is a big part of her existence. We have a Scratch discount code buried around here somewhere that I'll try to dig up once I turn the mics over to Jeremiah and Win. Today's episode is the second. We've done this before. We did it years and years and years ago with Yuri Hauswald and everyone from GU, and we had the patrons of the race who jumped in. It was Colby Pierce. It was Travis Brown. You were on another continent, I think, JB, and
Yeah.
and so we didn't list you. And you've also become sort of a celebrity spokesperson, bon vivant, over the past several years. Like you really, really augmented your capability as a content producer. It's been neat to witness. We're going to talk about gear today. And the reason we're going to talk about it is because it's a critical piece of your race experience. Epic, for the majority of its riders, is a 6-day long experience on site. It is a year-long experience in advance of the race. It's meant to deliver on a lot of different fronts. When you get here, though, a lot of stars need to align.
Mhm.
You need to be reasonably fit. You can get by not necessarily off the couch, but having basic residual fitness and a fair degree of mental toughness. The universe needs to be kind to you in terms of weather, your gut health, and your gear. What we wanted to talk about today was gear because you have the ability to put your thumb on the scale a little bit and create your own luck. And we have assembled two people who know a lot about the Epic today. I'm going to introduce staff member Win Allen first. Win is the owner and founder of Win's Wheels. He is a master mechanic. He has approached the race from multiple angles. A competitor himself, although not in this race, he wrenched on his wife and her teammates' bike for years before we realized he was doing so much stuff for us, we needed to hire him. So we did. And once we hired him, he started to get paid for building all the service course bikes, for maintaining the course crew's fleet of bikes, which sees very hard use over the course of the week, and shepherding a service course effort within the venue, sort of wrapping all of our service course vendors together and helping attendees fix their problems by directing them to where the resources lie and to facilitate ordering equipment and to fix things himself. Win also provides individual service course help on course, typically at aid 1, and then moves to aid 2 if he can. He has a little bit of help with that this year. We're going to go into it in a bit. And then when all that is done at 6 or 7 at night, Win typically goes, hey, you got anything else for me to do? He's been there since 6 in the morning. And I'm like, no, man, get out of here. And then he goes and works on his wife's bike and makes her dinner. And Quinn is a magnificent human being who has fountains of patience and a literal bottomless reserve of technical acumen where bikes are concerned. He's a vault of knowledge. The other panelist, and I'm going to drop myself into the background here pretty quickly, is Jeremiah Bishop. JB is he rides for Orange Seal, which is Breck Epic's title sponsor, Industry 9, which is among our list of new partners. I'll get into that in a little bit. And he is a multi-time Breck Epic champion. If memory serves, you won the first one. Did I have that right?
I did. Yeah, I
And
did.
how many have you ticked off along the way?
5.
What? It's a lot of belt buckles.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to proof that because my memory is kind of like a sponge. But yeah, absolutely an honor to be on board, and it's really exciting to be able to share some of the background, the preparation, and on the technical side, gear preparation is hugely important. To what I've done in the past, but also how we can help people get through this race, having their best foot forward. So excited to be on.
Thank you guys for making the time. JB is in a completely different way than Win, a bit of a prodigy. He came up as a junior and quickly earned a reputation as someone who made uh, thoughtful, analytical gear choices that defied convention and the norm. And he was labeled as an esoteric thinker, which I think is entirely accurate. He did things with gear in the name of efficiency and weight savings and reliability, all of which kind of need to converge in the interest of competitive advantage. The air that JB breathes is not the same as the rest of us. The slope is steep where he rides. He is at the pointy end of the spear. He has competed internationally with the fastest people in the world. He's been out front. He has been an incredibly high functioning domestique on world championship campaigns. He just has a spark of divinity that athletically and also as a human, that's why both of these guys are here. They share that quality that will lend insight into how to prepare best for this. So Win has been good enough to provide some notes for us that breaks down mostly bikes, but we're going to jump into other stuff. And we've all got that queued up. It's an agenda. And I encourage anyone listening to drop your questions into the Q&A or the chat. And the way that this breaks down is Win is our play-by-play guy. And JB is kind of the analyst color guy, and I'm the disembodied voice in the background. So without further ado, we're going to start with I have the wrong agenda up from a completely different meeting. I
Is that
thought I
your
was so
grocery
prepared.
list that you pulled up?
It's notes about the Sedona Bike Festival. I'm
Cucumber,
copious,
milk,
right? Copiously
2%.
copy. Because
Need a
we
whole
have
milk guy, I think.
Epic Week and Breck Bike Week. There's a festival component to the race that started last year. A huge expo demo downtown, and I think they're best in class. They do a lot of good work, and I encourage them to believe that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery because I really respect what they do. So I'm going to let Win take it away with the agenda that I'm supposed to have on my second screen that I'm going to find. And let's talk about bikes, Win and JB. Jump in wherever, and I'm going to
Yeah.
get into
Great.
the questions here from Adam and Liz.
Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. Great working with you, Jeremiah. On this, I want to hit a few points that because I've been out on course and I've seen issues arise that tires is one of the big things. Because people look at the climbing and the amount of hours that you're out on course, people sometimes try to, cut corners and think they can reduce some rolling resistance or rolling weights, only to find themselves on the side of the track. So I really encourage, you come out with fresh tires, minimum 2.4 seems to be the sweet spot right now as far as what we have in tire technology. Fresh sealant in there. remember, some of these trails you're going to be on are historical sites, right? We're going through old mines, and that debris through the seasons gets pushed up to the surface, and we've got sharp rocks, we've got mine debris, we've got people passing each other, maybe not in the best locations. So you really want to make sure that your tires are situated, and that includes running fresh sealant. We've had tremendous luck with Orange Seal, uh, and love the product out there. It's saved quite a few people's bacon, if you will. Also on that, yeah, you can get 2.4 tires, but in crazy light casings, but this really isn't the place for it. Again, there's a lots of debris out there. We're going through scree fields. You've got potential nails and small sharp objects through these old mining areas that you really need to be aware of. Um, you know, you got to finish with your bike, right? We're out here racing bikes. We're not out going for a hike. So if your bike isn't working, this is not going to be a fun time for you. Um, Jeremiah, you have a little insight on preferences that you like as far as tires and prep go?
Absolutely. To echo your sentiment, a larger tire that has a little room for errors is always. I mean, it's always a great idea, but especially at Breck. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of unknown terrain. Few people get to pre-ride the entire course, so it's one thing if you're going to run, like Gold Dust was the entire course, but it is not entirely buffed, well maintained sections of trail. You're going and hitting the backcountry. You're hitting Colorado Trail. I mean, you're hitting stuff that hasn't been ridden that year in some cases. And there's a lot of shifting. There's loose rubble. Rock in the middle of the trail can end your day. So I always have this buffer. And with the stage races that I've done, and thanks for the shout out, Mike. I kind of forget sometimes, some of the things that I've done. I'm always kind of looking for the thing I'm doing or the thing I've done next. And but it is fascinating that one of the best runs I've ever had in my career, and I had some pretty good times with the cross country, and winning national championships and stuff like that in the first half of my career. But the second half, I got really locked into the stage races. Some people didn't really get it. They didn't know what was going on and why I was like stoked on it. But it was something I loved ever since I did Transalp way back. And I really got pretty dialed there, from the first time. I mean, I did have a flat the first time I raced Breck Epic, and I was like, that was close, almost lost the shooting match, cut sidewall. But then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to be really regimented, have a system, be super dialed. And I just sort of started to have a protocol for my tires, for my gear in general. And with tires specifically, I would have, I'd make sure to run fresh tires. Like I'd ride them in the day before the race. And then I had a rule that I would switch out the fresh tires halfway through. Like it did not matter. I had my tires set aside. And then the other thing I would do is I'd bring a spare wheel set that would have my wet condition tire setup or my backup tire setup. Because a lot of the trouble is, when you're trying to work on your bike during the race, that really takes away from your recovery, takes away from your experience because you're like trying to find a pump or, fiddling with a really tight tire or sealing a tire where the sidewall's got bubbles in it and it's not, completely sealing, all that stuff. You could just say, hey, I've got my spare wheel set, and then if you break a wheel, okay, crisis averted, you swap wheels. The other one goes to the shop, it doesn't stress people out, or it goes to win and it doesn't stress them out because they've got, okay, a little, okay, get this back in the next couple days versus, oh my God, I need this in an hour. Lifesaver. So that would be one thing that just in the conversation about tires, that really, really came up in the back of my mind. The other thing too is checking the tires after each stage. So washing the bike does not seem all that important. And when I'm training, man, I sometimes put it away dirty. I ride it dirty. But with races, it is a religious thing for me to like go through the bike very carefully And then, you're cleaning the chain and oh shit, it's almost about to snap. It's got a link about to go, or the sidewalls. I clearly remember at Breck Epic, after every stage, I would wipe the sidewalls down with Armor All after I washed the bike. And that's when I catch the slice sidewall. Like it was about to go, but I caught it ahead of time. And, that little bit of detail, really saved me. And definitely run the heavier casings, like at all costs. It's just not worth playing with.
The first
Yeah.
person we brought in to help us with tire selection, Continental has been our tire brand of choice for a long time. And in general, I believe that riders need to use what they're comfortable with. Nutrition is possibly the best example of that. You can't switch nutrition on race day and hope for success. Your body needs to understand, and you need to understand, what's the best tire? Maybe the one you're used to. What's the best camera? One you have with you. That's what all photographers would say. So it's a good opportunity to inject a few things. There's a bike wash on site that is high volume. It's administered by Squirt Lube. There's tons of cleaning stuff there. And JB's right. Like, wash your bike every day. It really is. It's a bolt check for the entire thing. Wheels, tires, and sealant is an entirely, we can take up an hour with that. In fact, we're going to later on in the web series. We have Orange Seal as our sealant partner. We know the efficacy of that product. Industry 9 is our new wheel partner, which we love because they're backcountry nerds just like we are. They make a fantastic product. And we talked to them about what we could do to help them move some wheels. And they're like, well, let's create a good, better, and best wheel, according to budget. And our response was, that's a great idea, but we also need to add another layer for the climber, for the brawler, for the enduro guy, for the middle of the packer, for the budget conscious rider. So we're working with Industry 9 to do good, better, and best for all of those riders. We'll present that information to you. And we're also going to have some Industry 9 parts on site. The third leg of that stool is tires. I've kind of always been a Continental guy, so I gravitated towards them when I was looking for a wheel partner a long, long time ago. And for almost every year, the only year Continental hasn't been a partner is when we haven't had a wheel partner tire partner, because we had tire left from the year before. We don't need to dip into their budget when it's not necessary. What they have done with tires over the past 3 or 4 years is moving something great to exceptional. And what they've done with casing and how they've differentiated their products. And this is where Jeff Kirkhope, Jeremiah's old teammate, came in to help us. And this was the one point that he made: do not order any tires without casing protection. Like, just not here. Yeah. When you go to Moab, when you go to the North Shore, and you go on a ride with a local, it's not unusual to go on a ride that is so far beyond what you're accustomed to. I thought it was going to be me.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. It reminds us all to turn our phones off. So you go ride in one of those vaunted places and you go on a locals ride and it's not what you're used to. I want to be really cautious about doing that here, because we look at these courses and we think they're not that hard. Really not. They're not overly technical. They are very mineral based. And there are a lot of square edge rocks out there. They are hell on wheels. There's no getting around that. So focusing on that, when we see people bring super light setups, it's like an emergency room. If you're watching the pit where they slap a bracelet on you to identify you for triage, we know you're going to have a problem if you brought the lightest climbing setup, because the course isn't great for that. You need to have something a bit more of an all-rounder with a nod towards weight. Tire selection, it's up to you. The Continental stuff works great. We have ample supply of that for service, course, and recovery. I'm going to turn it back over and we move on from this subheading. We do have a couple questions I want to get to. How do you prepare for punctures? Adam Fern said he runs a lightweight XC insert. Good idea. Last year, he carried a tube for gnarlier stages and kept a spare one in his aid bag. also a great suggestion. Those aid bags are flat rate boxes with the Postal Service. You should put anything you might need in there, and we'll take it out there for you and bring it back. He also carried CO2 and a small bottle of sealant. Adam's a prepper.
He's a
This
prepper.
is a game. This is how he wraps it up, and I love it. This is a game of what ifs. But what, how, where do you carry for puncture resistance on course? I think this one's aimed at you, Jeremiah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember it changed a little bit. The first year you had a scared shitless, and we were, good hang out for this backcountry expedition, and you had to sign this waiver about death and lightning, and rain
Harris,
jacket was required. I want to see it go back. I want to see it go back to backcountry. Like, just scare people a little bit, because what happens is when you scare people, they come prepared. I still have the jacket I bought in Breckenridge because this gear checklist, and I'm like, shit,
welcome.
I don't want to get DQ'd. So I found the lightest freaking thing you could. It's almost like a Patagonia Houdini jacket before they were making those. So that's like my go-to. By the way, Patagonia Houdini jacket, and then I waterproof it. Stuff that little sucker down the size of a baseball. Weighs nothing. But one of the things that was required is, and I have it buried somewhere. I couldn't find it. It's in my like keepsakes. Is this little dog tag, which was like almost like a road ID that had your like emergency contact, blood type. Anyway, so it was very, very serious gear list, and I think that mentality is fantastic. You kind of get this habit of people wanting to carry less because everybody else is carrying less, and then therefore you have people unprepared for lightning and I don't know, hiding in a ditch and staying warm when the weather does hit. Back to the tire prep and the specific part of the question is, I always have a tire boot, which could be a dollar bill. Gel packs do work in an emergency, but they come kind of slide around a little bit. Self-adhesive Velcro is pretty darn good, so you can take a patch of that, peel off the sticky back part, clean it with the inside of your jersey, smack it on there, and it's got a bit of substance to it. Something with some fabric can always work, but I would also take a piece of duct tape and wrap it around my seat tube. So early photos of the race, I remember seeing that little bit of Gorilla Tape actually is what I would use, a little tougher. But the Gorilla Tape, if you crash, you break a brake lever clamp, you can strap that around that. You could strap it around a broken seat rail. You could put it on the inside of the tire. You could even wrap the outside of the tire, which I call the Aussie wrap. So that's if you really get the shit, big cut, like inch plus. You wrap it all the way around, including the rim, and it'll actually work. I know it sounds crazy, but the tread wears through like that area, and I don't know, it's got me out of some big problems. So that, and I always have the pump. I don't know where my little mini pump is, but I don't play with that CO2 only game. That's just for the first one.
You're right that we made everyone get additional backcountry insurance. We made them sign an extreme risk waiver, and we must have, like, that year, been on a number of rides where the weather just turned to poo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Plugs.
80% of the
Almost
right
forgot the
plug.
plugs.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I have double plugs. So the thing is, and having raced Cape Epic 5 times, I've raced probably 20 stage races. Flats, not only do flats happen, but you have to be practiced at it. And have double plugs, not just single plugs. So if you go with just the mule, or if you're using a samurai, or whatever your tire plug system is, don't just have one, have two. Because if you get a pinch flat on the rim, typically it'll puncture not only the bead, but the top of the tire too. So you have two holes, one at the bead, one at the top of the tire. And first thing is I put my thumb over it, so it stops the air from coming out. Then you make sure you have your plug near the handlebar or near the chainstay. I usually have one in each. And then that way I can get to it while still holding the air in. I plug it. Sometimes I don't even put air in it because it's lost so little. Roll it around, get the sealing on it. But anyway, the double plugs, that's another thing I didn't think about.
What would you throw in an ad? What have we missed? You see a lot of mangled wheels over the course of race week.
Yeah, having something as simple as some zip ties some maybe 8-inch zip ties. They'll bail you out. Just piecing things back together, maybe a buckle brakes on your hydration pack. Again, getting the tire to stay onto the rim to get you to the next aid station. You can make a brake lever out of a tire lever if you got some zip ties. There's a million uses for them. That would be a big one. Again, your aid bags, because our aid stations are limited, having replenishing supplies. So the sealant, spare plugs, an inner tube. In my wife's setup, we have a spare tire in each aid bag just in case. You've got the room. We're happy to transport it for you. So, include that in there. But I would say replenishing supplies, because if you get to aid one and you've already used up some of that stuff, you still have a long day. And if that's kind of how your luck's going, you might need some more stuff. So I would definitely say those items, even a small amount, maybe a 1 or even a half ounce of chain lube. If we get into a really wet year,
Yeah.
drivetrains will start making noise, start skipping. You'll have all kinds of issues. And, again, we're very limited, because this is a backcountry event, is how much stuff we can haul in for you at an aid station. Also, batteries, if you're running a SRAM system, a spare battery in your hydration pack can go a long ways. Or just being familiar with, let's say you're running multiple SRAM products, knowing you can move the battery around because it's the same platform. Maybe you don't need your dropper, but you need shifting, or vice versa at the time. Just kind of being familiar with your bike and knowing where you can, let's say, borrow things from, or field fix stuff. There's some good stuff out there on the internet of field fixing stuff, but you need the supplies, right? You can't go out there and hope you're gonna branch around your wheel to get you back. Little preparation does go a long ways.
Yeah. So in the restaurant industry, mise en place, right? The concept of having everything you need available when you need it, ready to go. And it's the same here. You're going to be on course with people who are prepared for the same stuff you're prepared for. And if you've forgotten something, chances are pretty good someone somewhere behind you is going to have what you need. Still, don't take that risk. Lug your own stuff. No
Yeah.
one is winning the race by 3 seconds. It's really, really rare that the elapsed time between one place and another is anything smaller than 10 minutes. It's a long race. And
And
10 minutes itself is an anomaly.
I would say historically in cycling, my experiences have been, if you have the gear, but maybe not the knowledge, you can find the knowledge out on course. You can't always find the gear. And people are typically more willing to help somebody who says, hey, I've got this, but I don't know how to use it or what to do with it, versus saying, I've got nothing, I need help. It's a harder sell, I would say, on the side of the course, to get going again. If you've got stuff, at least you're 50% of the way there, right? Like, you may not have all the knowledge or technique, but if you have nothing to offer and looking for help, that's a tougher sell. So those aid bags can really come in to play, or prepping your hydration pack or a saddle pack ahead of time, and having some knowledge of what's in there also. Don't let somebody else pack your chute. Know what you've got in there.
Actually, I'm so bad at it. It would be better if someone else packed my chute. I There's a couple things. We have a couple more questions under this heading, and then we're going to move on to brakes. So we're going to call this sealant tires and wheels, which is an entirely new separate category. We're going to devote an entire webinar to moving forward. We have a question here from Adriana Mant. Are XC tires recommended? We touched on this a little bit in the beginning. A conventional XC race tire is not a good choice here. Something with a really, really low profile tread pattern is probably not the best choice. You're going to see organic compound in the soil. You're going to see a lot of loose over hard. You will go through heavily wooded sections where it's loamy and beautiful and grippy. if there's a little bit of precipitation, man, it's bomber out there. And this course soaks up water like no one's business. It makes for absolute bonkers good conditions. 80% of the time, the weather's going to be 100% awesome. But you start at 9,600 feet. So, Adriana, to get to your question, probably bigger than a 2.1. 2.1 probably is about as low as you want to go. You want some pneumatic suspension to be able to endure the thousand, gigajolts that your bike is going to go through, which are going to be translated to you and your back and shoulders and forearms every hour of every day on the bike. So my advice would be to go with what you're comfortable with, bulk up a little bit, not to the point where you feel like it's really slowing you down, but take a calculated assessment there and use what's familiar, but don't be afraid to go a little heavier. You'll be glad in the long term.
Yeah, all the companies make great like backcountry tires too. I mean, whether it's WTB or like a Rocket Run, or in the case of Continental, they had the Trail King, which is like a 2.4, which is a great tire when we raced with those. Every company makes kind of like a good backcountry tire that's got some claws to it. You'll really want it on like the wheeler stage coming down. It's more like an enduro. Colorado Trail coming down, I don't think I've been that scared in a long time. And if you go with fast rolling, you'll be glad like 5% of the time. But if you go with like a sure-footed tire, you'll be very, very happy in the oh shit part of the course, which is at least 3 days of there's 3 big days where you'll be very, very glad with that tire selection. And I'll just go with one that rolls pretty decent and you're set.
I would
Jeremiah
add,
just said that. Sorry, go ahead, Win.
I would add, by going up in tire size, you're also protecting your wheel set. You're giving a little more cushion there, and you can run lower pressure, and wider tire is going to open up and protect your direct hits versus a narrow tire.
Jeremiah just said something that was hilarious. Todd Wells had a great comment about this. Jeremiah said that he was never more frightened than going down the Colorado Trail at full speed. It's not because it's a scary trail. It's because it's really high speed and it goes on forever. And especially coming down on the Gio stage, like that descent is miles and miles and miles long. And it changes. We always describe it as Kim Basinger in Blind Date, like sweet and beautiful at the top, lyrical, swoopy. Like you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then it just turns to absolute poo at the bottom. It's so rowdy and so much fun, And Wells's comment when he was chasing Russell Finsterwald through the woods he was like, I was on Russell's wheel and I was going so fast and so far beyond my comfort zone. I was counting the seconds before we started climbing again because I was just experiencing so much relief. Yeah, it's fast, and that's hard on your bike and your wheels, especially. One more under tires and wheels, and then we're going to move on. This is from Chris Melman. Chris is racing us a bunch. Great human being, races in the pro field, and again, super, super analytical gear guy. And if I haven't said fantastic human, fantastic human. How do you deal with tire pressure choice in terms of temperature change and elevation change that occurs during the stage, sometimes 30 degrees and 3,000 feet? He's right. That's common.
Yeah, there's a scale that used to be used by the motorcycle guys, and it was something like 1 psi for every 10 degrees. And we'll have to look that up, and I'll have to find that for you, Chris. That's a great question, and one of which actually I kind of forgot what the exact formula was for it, but there is a very good and known formula for a temperature, and it does matter, especially if you're looking at near freezing temperatures in the morning in Breck, and then late stage, it can get pretty warm out on the longer stages. It also happens with barometric pressure too. that's mostly you're going to see, if you're getting into very big elevation changes, like in the Andes, or, if you were to pack your bike from out here and bring it out. When do you remember what that scale was?
I don't off the
I'm gonna
top
have to
of
look
my
this.
head, but I
Yeah,
do remember adjusting people's tire pressure due to, temperature changes and just even condition changes, right? Like you start off as a dry day and it turns sloppy or vice versa, and people need more bite or want to roll a little faster if conditions change. But yeah, I don't know the specifics of that off the top of my head, but it is something that we deal with at the event from day to day or even during the event.
yeah. I'm always ending up with a little bit more pressure. Like you don't want to play that game.
Right.
And then when you're doing your tire pressure, um, yeah, I'll typically have the bike in the hotel room. So that's also going to throw you off a little bit, if you go out and it's colder. So if it's 70 degrees or 72 in your apartment, and then you are going to the stage warm up and it's 38 degrees, yeah, it will actually, well, it hasn't been that cold in a long time. Let's say 48 degrees. Yeah.
That's the global warming. Editor's note: it's always sunny. The weather's never soupy, and you should be prepared. Come on, guys, protect the house.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's a great overview of tires, wheels, and sealants. Wayne mentioned extra batteries for SRAM. I'm going to throw in there that Shimano will be on site doing service course work. They're going to have a few brand new things to show you that the entire bike industry is collectively holding its breath for. And if you're visiting Sea Otter, which is, the opening bell of the North American cycling season, which is an entirely accurate way to describe it, you should stop by the Shimano booth. I think they're going to remove the velvet rope from a few of those things. And it has been a long time coming. We're all really, really excited. And a lot of that stuff is, from what I understand, and I do not know much other than hints about what it might be, it is purpose built for this kind of riding. So go check out Shimano. And I think that there's a battery conversation potentially to be discussed there as well. I'm as excited as the rest of you to figure out what's behind the curtain. So, moving on, we're going to talk about brakes. Brakes are really a key system, just like your body has systems. It has the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the pulmonary system. Your bike has systems. Tires, wheels, and sealant is one system. Brakes is another. Wayne, why don't you kick us off with your recommendations on brakes?
Yeah, as far as brakes go, I would not show up with anything smaller than a 160 rotor. I know there's people out there love to run again that lightweight cross country setup and try to run that 140 in the back, and you're going to be sorry. These descents are they're technical, which you're going to be on the brakes a lot, or they're high speed and you need to stop in a short distance. Heat and heat effect in brake systems is a real thing. My preferred or recommended kind of sweet spot is the 180, at least in the front, and a 160 in the back if you want to try to keep it light. You can do it with a 2-piston system. Obviously you go 4-piston, say just in the front, will give you a little more stopping power, little cooler setup. But the big thing is showing up with fresh pads and rotors. I would recommend a fresh bleed as well, because you're going to be in all kinds of conditions. You're going to be on the brakes, whether you're an elite rider or this is your first epic. It's going to throw some curveballs at you. And like Jeremiah said, a lot of people cannot get out and pre-ride this. So, you're reliant on maps, previous competitors, 2 cents, come prepared. Like tires, you need to be able to stop. You can have all the grip in the world, but if you don't know how to, or not able to stop, then you've got another issue at hand. Also with brakes is having spares,
Yes.
because this is a 70-degree 6-day event, tongue in cheek. you may have a rainy day or half of a stage that's rainy, and the pumice that's in the soil there under heavy braking is going to eat pads and rotors. And us as an event don't have those supplies to just be handing out. Yes, Shimano will be there. Yes, there are shops in town, but also remember, you're in a bit of a secluded mountain town that doesn't have big city supplies necessarily, for every brake system, every rotor diameter, every rotor interface, pad material preferences. I mean, there's a lot that goes like tires that you really need to have a set of spares with you. And at a minimum, I would say a set of rotors, so one front, one rear, and also a set of front and rear pads at a bare minimum. That will at least buy you a day or two to find stuff in town, or if you have to go out of town to locate those items. But again, being prepared, those are not items you're going to pack in your aid bag, but it's going to be something you're going to have back at your hotel room, in your vehicle, depending on where you're coming from. But brakes are huge here, because of the amount of climbing. You got to come back down, right? None of these are finishing on top of a mountain, and we're not driving you back to your hotel. So what goes up must come down, and brakes are big here.
Yes, that's definitely an understatement. Yeah, there's some sections where you're riding the brakes for sustained periods of times. I remember smelling people's brakes in front of me, and it's like a barbecue. Like that's definitely some heat being generated. Actually burned my leg on the rotor once plugging a tire because it got so hot. I'm like, what's that sizzling sound? Like, oh, that's my calf. Um, Other stories involving brakes would be being down at the sports shop where we're next to the pancake place. Man, I harassed them over several Breck Epics, you know.
Avalanche
Yes,
works. Yeah.
right. So I've done Breck Epic fully supported, which was amazing, but I've also done it, full privateer, out of the suitcase, just, on your own. And, the most stressful moments are when you don't come prepared. You don't have your brake pads and you're like, crap, do you have organic Shimano brake pads? Um, or the springs get bent, or anyway, having that stuff is sleep in the bank. It is getting that stress level down to zero instead of being at this medium stress level, wondering if they've got your specific need.
We're going to send, well, we're going to publish this webinar so you can revisit this information. We're also going to send this agenda with the top level notes to everyone, and which you can extrapolate a list of extra things to bring: brake pads, rotors. You're a day away from having something shipped to you from the front range. It's not impossible, but you may need to bootstrap your way through a day making your janky equipment work unless we have something for you. The best way to address that is to get out in front of it by having brake pads, rotors, a handful of other things that we're going to go through. We try to do the best we can. And this is a lesson that this is how we started the Firecracker back in 1999. What we really wanted was for you to bring your bike, and we're going to worry about everything else. That is the genesis of our aid bag system. You only have to limp along with a bad bike, in most cases, for no more than 10 miles. You're not out on a 40-mile ride with no support. And you have the ability to author your own support by using those aid bags intelligently. When I have a note here to ask JB later to compare Cape Epic with Breck Epic. They're two different animals, not better or worse. It's apples and oranges. And in my brain, I think of them as best in class. They do a really good job with so much stuff, and it's hard. It's longer than our race. I think the average speed is higher. I think our terrain's a little bit different. Our altitude certainly is different.
Very much so.
We're gonna finish on that question, the compare and contrast, JB. So get your gears turning about that. The aid bag system is there for you to use. The reason that I was thinking about Cape Epic is you may remember 2017 Ironman, which owns Cape Epic. was making a run at buying us, and like we actually like those people, all of them. They're great. It just wasn't a good fit then or the time after that. But the Cape Epic leaders came here and they looked at our A bag system, and point blank, the lady looked at me and told me I was an idiot and that they weren't going to do it. And I was like, well, let me introduce you to my friends at the Forest Service. And like it's a system that's based on the particular set of variables that constrain us. We have to be able to support you out there, and the best way that we can do that is to spread that burden out a little bit. And if we need to provide exactly what you need in terms of nutrition or gear or clothing, the best way for us to do that is to have you do it for yourself. And we're just providing the manpower to lug it out there. So, aid bag system has been a consistent thread throughout this chat. That's brakes. Brakes is an easy one. Bring extra stuff. You're going to need it. Moving on, we're going to go to drivetrain, and I'll let you guys take it away. We've got another question from Chris in here. So, Win, drivetrain.
Drivetrain, like brakes and tires, really needs to be in top shape, if not new, going into this event. Again, the variables are endless as far as conditions go. When you maybe make a poor shift and you've got a lot of wear and tear on that drivetrain, it might finish off that chain out there in the middle of nowhere. Starting with new, or I say less than 50% wear, is ideal. With that being said, it's not just the chain. We're looking at the chain, the cassette, chain ring. Pretty much everybody's on one by. Looking at pulley wheels, anything to do with that bike forward and shifting the bike, derailleur, all that needs to be in good working order, if not new, low miles on it. I also encourage you not to put something brand new on the morning of the race. Put stuff on and ride it at least one day, if not 2 days, maybe a week before you head out, or put it in the bike case or put it in UPS or however you're getting your bike out there. Test it before you show up. Again, resources are limited, and we can't have a bunch of bikes that need a lot of work because somebody didn't just throw a leg over it and find out that their new chain is not meshing with their old cassette or their old chain ring. Proper lubrication. I'm not going to get necessarily into the weeds of waxing, non-waxing, wet lubes, dry lubes, all that. You have your preference. I have mine. Jeremiah, I'm sure, has his. But bike wash is huge, because bike wash is going to do your inspection for you, if you will. You know, you cannot inspect a dirty bike. I don't care who you are. Maybe Superman with X-ray vision, but I'm not there. Having a clean bike gives you the ability to check the tires and drivetrain and brakes for wear and tear, nicks, scarring, any of that. But you need to remember, as soon as the bike is washed, you need to lubricate it. Chains tend to want to flash rust. You'll get busy. You'll go put your pot of pasta on, then you get comfortable and you put your feet up and you head out the door the next morning, and what is that chirping, or why is my chain skipping now? Drivetrain needs to be lubed shortly after washing. I would also encourage you to clean and wash your pedals and cleat system. Good way to get yourself trapped into a set of pedals is something that is bound up or not moving smoothly on the drivetrains. Also, it doesn't hurt to pull batteries off if you have a removable battery system, and throw them on the charger each night, just to know you're topped off for the day and you're good to go. Also, just throw a quick check on your indicator for your shifter battery. There is a separate battery in the SRAM system that can go out. And I've had some people out at aid 2 or 3 saying, my bike doesn't shift, but I have a green light at my derailleur. Well, they forget that there are 2 separate batteries in these systems, and you need to check that as well.
Yeah, Wynn's probably talking about me. I had a bit of an issue, yes, and unfortunately, Lackland's mechanic was there. Tried to switch the heart rate monitor battery into the shifter lever, which was clever. I was proud of myself for thinking of that, but it didn't work. went and tried to get ended up getting a loaner shifter after losing about 12 minutes. So bye third place in the GC. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things, and it really makes me think about when I was very serious and full-time racing pro, like how freaking lucky that I lined up 12 stage races in a row with zero major problems. Like the actual math of that just does not add up between major crashes, um, issues, and I could talk about that on another another podcast. But the drivetrain, circling back to drivetrain, and some common questions for that is, yes, I would go to a smaller chain ring for the wheeler stage for sure. I would run a 30, and then typically I'd run a 32 for the rest of it, and then the 1045. Not enough. I really like the 1051 when I'm running the Shimano. More gears, the better.
That's a really great overview of drivetrain, and not quite the consumables conversation that brakes and tires are, but definitely one where you want to be prepared and not bringing a new date to the dance the night before. Drivetrain is, again, we've got Shimano on site doing repair. There are at least 6 different service course vendors who can help out with that stuff. They're all kind of selling programs to help you out on site, to give you some paid support. And this is also a great time to mention Feedback Sports. They are our new service partner. We're doing a really interesting program with them this year. We together, and with some of Wynn's help, are going to put together self-service maintenance bays that will be Feedback Sports tents with pro stands, a table to set your stuff on. You'll be able to check out a toolkit from us. A lot of you know how to work on your own stuff. And in the name of self-sufficiency, it's also difficult to bring all your tools here from home. So we're making arrangements to have the tools that you need here for you. You can check them out from us at race headquarters. Go out, work on your bike, and bring that toolkit back when you're done. And it's kind of meeting you where you are. I think it's an inspired idea that derived from all of our camps. Feedback makes fantastic stuff, and they're just down the hill in Golden, Colorado. We really, really believe in Colorado brands. When we were digging through brands to come to the expo and demo at Breck Bike Week downtown, I poured through that, and a lot of the bike industry is in California. There's a significant portion of it in the East Coast, and there's a huge knot of it, 150 brands in Colorado alone. So Feedback Sports is one of them. Zach Vestal is an old and dear friend, and we're going to do some good work together with those guys. So
on that real quick, Mike,
yeah,
I will be at the HQ where we have our meetings every night. So I'll be there in the mornings and in the evenings. During the day, I may be out in the field depending on the day and that. But if you're there borrowing tools and need a hand with something, feel free to reach out to myself, which I'll be around. We'll have Shimano there. Orange Seal also has a couple techs with them. So we're all there to help and get you to the next day, get you through the day, whatever the need is. But having feedback support is huge. The product is solid. The company has got a great mission, and they want to help us help you. So please take advantage of this, and don't get over that 50-pound weight limit by bringing the kitchen sink worth of tools. We've got you covered.
Bring your big torque wrench, right? The one for semi lug nuts. We are rounding the bend in the final stretch here. We've got about 7 minutes before the hour ticks over. We can go a few minutes over, but I want to respect everyone's time. So I'm going to prompt us forward. We've mentioned all of our new sponsors so far: Scratch, Industry 9, Feedback Sports. Shimano's not new, but they have new stuff coming out, which is highly anticipated. Common Spirit is the other. We pride ourselves on providing fantastic medical care. There are 4 layers of it out there. We've seldom had to lean into all 4 layers. We most notably did at the end of stage 6 last year for Howard, within a mile finish. and we needed all four of those. And it really illustrated the point that in terms of field rescue, like world class field rescue, nobody does it better than Breck. We had anxiety for 3 seconds and then we flipped the switch. That plan has been in place for 17 years. This year, we're bringing Common Spirit, which is St. Anthony's Medical Center in Frisco. And they're a bigger national company, but they are really, really bolstering our medical support out there. They're coordinating all those four layers. What we're already really good at, we're getting even better at. So a couple questions about what to put in your aid bags. And I'm skipping over suspension. I want to get to that in a second, but someone asked how big are the aid bags? I'm going to hold one up here. This is, it's a 15 by 15 by 10 standard grocery bag. This one's from Chris Zigmont with a bunch of epic goodies in there that I want him to wear to other events. That's my passive aggressive way to compete. Please, please, please wear this to race A, B, and C. And stuff for his son as well. They're pretty big. The question was, is it the size of a postal flat rate box? Not really. It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
But the concept is the same. Whatever you could stuff in there, we'll take out to the aid stations for you. Every rider gets 3 of them because there are days when we have 3 aid stations. You drop them off in the morning. There'll be an A frame that says aid 1, another that says aid 2, and another that says aid 3. They're typically back by the time the rider meeting takes place, and you need to pick them up each night. You also need to seal your water bottles really well if you're putting them in there. We have a lot of soupy aid vehicles at the end of the week, which doesn't make the people who own those vehicles very happy. So, okay, so let's do suspension next. And then actually, before we do that, the question of what to put into aid bags in terms of first aid supplies. We have a medical person at each aid station. There's a medical person at the finish. There's a medical tent at every riders meeting who they irrigate wounds. They do lots of stuff, all the way up to cupping. Like they're really dynamic in terms of what they provide. We try to put medical people where we know they're needed. We stage them uphill of crash zones so they can deploy quickly. The lengthiest extraction that we've ever had was Jim Gentis, who's the founder of Giro. Jim crashed it was on the Colorado Trail stage, so day 2, this is 2015, on the second switchback coming down from Westridge. And you are cooking. And he just overcooked a corner, hit the ground with his chest, and suffered several broken ribs, pneumothorax, and he was just below the apex, the summit there. And he was literally, as the crow flies, 4 miles from the race start. It wasn't that far away. We had to hand walk up a pneumatic gurney from the Keystone side to get to him and get him out of there. And there are a bunch of people in that same territory of severity of damage. Howard is he sits on top of the throne, which is really not the throne you want, but you're at risk out there. So what do you want to put in your bag? Man, if you have allergies, you want EpiPens in there. You should actually have those with you at all times. Yeah, Tagaderm, probably. It can get a little rashy out there, and like we'll take care of irrigating that at the end of the stage for you, but you want stuff that's going to get you through the next day. Bandages. We live in one of the busiest resort areas on the planet. They are wired for medical supplies. We probably have what you need. You're not going to need to buy a ton if you want to bring some extra stuff. You can also get it at the grocery store, at the pharmacy. There's you're not going to be hurting for that. You go minimal on that, but bring the really priority needs. EpiPens if you need them. Oh my God, lip balm and sunscreen. You're not going to think you're sweating that much. You're sweating a lot.
Both those are key. Trust me.
Yeah.
Lowlander here, you're used to the humidity. You go up there, it is just destroyed at the end of the week.
And another one I'd toss in there too would be some of the small packs of chamois cream. Some people are just not used to being out that long, or if it really starts turning wet, chamois cream will wash out, and that can save somebody, you know, those little 1 ounce packs or whatever, will might make it a little more comfortable getting to the finish.
Yeah, you can't
Good one.
have everything or plan for everything, but I would say that one of the things that I'm going to do is a backcountry first response course. And generally speaking, like having that knowledge is something that you can take to any scenario. Um, all of the races I've been to where I've encountered injuries on the course or been the injury, it's always another rider that's the first person to the scene. And if you've got just a little bit of knowledge on what to do and what not to do, that can make a pretty big difference. The only real medical supply that I'll ride with, like I said, is tape. So that gorilla tape is a great tourniquet in an emergency situation. Um, it's just good for keeping dirt out of stuff. If you do have a small bandage, and then the other thing that I do bring, um, a guide in Alaska, former ranger for what's that, Elias, Wrangell Elias National Park in Alaska. He said bleed stop sponge. So they make a military bleed stop sponge. It's like a little sponge in a tight packet. Weighs like 20 grams, weighs nothing, but it's got coagulant in it. They developed it for shotgun or gun wounds. But if you do have a bleeding incident, you stuff that sucker in, compress it, tape it. That's probably the only thing I really bring with me. I mean, the rest of the stuff can wait. If you need to get stitches or whatever. But that, and of course the Spot or Garmin InReach for like backcountry training. So if you're out there training on the Breck course, not a bad idea. But yeah, I usually I don't put too much stuff in the actual bag itself.
We are running a little bit long. I want to touch on suspension quickly before we leave, and then just a few parting notes. So let's get to suspension when you have a short but powerful couple of sentences here.
Yes, on suspension, like your brake system, tires, make sure that you're coming to the event with either a freshly serviced or fork and shock that have low miles on them since their last service. To get that serviced in town is a huge ask of any shop to turn around essentially same day. So knowing that you've got fresh wiper seals, fresh oil in there is going to be the best preparation you can do for that. Along with that is getting your air pressure dialed in and setting that once you're at least starting elevation. We can't do too much when you're going over 12,000 feet unless you really want to stop and mess with a few psi here or there. But getting that dialed in once you're there, again, ride around the day before, morning of, and make sure your sag is set properly. You've got your adjustment set. You go out with too much pressure, it's going to be a bone shaker. You go out too low, you're going to be hitting your pedals on rocks. You're going to be wasting energy. You're just not going to be efficient. But really, the big thing is having it freshly serviced. It's just, yeah, can I service a fork in under an hour? Yeah, but that's not going to be a realistic ask of a shop, especially at the end of the day when you're finishing in the afternoon and they may close at 5 or 6 o'clock. And it's just not fair to put the shop in that position because of maybe some poor planning or just being lazy.
JB, what would you add to that?
Not too much other than, yeah, make sure that you bring, yeah, some suspension. Like, no, really, like, don't ride the hardtail. If you've got a choice between a hardtail and a backcountry bike that's got 120 front and rear, definitely go with the 120. The only 10-second exception is the first year Mike had an uphill time trial. And
Okay.
that's when I was racing for Cannondale, and they had like this freaking ridiculous hardtail. And I was like, all right, I'm bringing this hardtail just for this time trial. Definitely not the standard, setup. All the other years, I just rode the sand bike the whole time, but I did absolutely send that TT. Yeah. So, in any case, yeah, 120 backcountry style.
What I remember most about that first year's individual time trial is that we never did it again, that it was pouring rain like 10 seconds before it started, and that I was such a bundle of stress, which really doesn't describe me on event day. But this was the first year. I wasn't even sure if anything would work. This aid bag system, I had no idea if it would work. And I was in Westcott's backyard filling Gatorade jugs with water from his hose. And I lifted one and dumped the whole thing into the front of my sweatshirt pocket, which is where my phone was. Which this was, I'm pretty sure pretty close to flip phone era. Suspension is necessary. There's an element of survival to this. Like it's not like Survivor where you need to, build a fire in the woods from belly button hair and pine tar. But you got to get through this. Your equipment has to get through it. That's why we're having this webinar, to give you some insight and some things to think about to, again, tip the scales in your favor to make your own luck. Suspension's important. We're going to cover a bunch of this stuff moving forward. One of the questions we do get frequently is, do I have to ride the same bike every day? Do I have to ride the same wheels? No. We got 3 rules. Be nice to other people, which is a nice way to paraphrase the juvenile way. We've been saying it for a long time. Wear your helmet and don't litter. And everything else is workable. There's a social contract. We also,
don't be there.
I said that. I just said it like a 55-year-old would say it, which is what I am. We will run out of time. I want to thank our sponsors. Orange Seal is at the top of that list. Yeti Cycles, Shimano, Scratch, Castelli. I'm terrible at listing these. Fox Suspension, which makes the best stuff on the planet. Common Spirit, our new medical partner, which is like kind of putting a new roof on your house. It's not that exciting, but you're really glad when you don't have to worry about your roof. Industry 9, Feedback Sports. I already mentioned Shimano. I'm missing a ton because I'm doing it from memory. I haven't written it down. I want everyone to pay attention during race week because I sweet talked Jeremiah into my latest scheme, which is we're gonna do 30 minutes of race coverage every day during the Breck Epic. He's gonna co-host that along with Michael Leach. We're gonna tell you who won. We're also gonna tell you what happened out there, and he's gonna bring in a series of guest hosts, riders from the field, sponsors, and we're gonna banter. And through that banter, which we're gonna live stream, you're gonna know what happened in Breck that day. That'll take place down in the Tech Expo venue. Internally, we've been calling it Jeremiah's Clubhouse. It's club hole. That club hole. That's a terrible word. Cubby hole is the word I was going for.
Don't worry, I didn't tell you about my other plan for the evening, the tweed and the whiskey story time, where we just talk about Mike's crazy first couple years running this thing.
You had me at tweed. I'm in 1000%. JB, I had you on deck for describing Cape Epic versus Breck Epic. I think we're going to save that one for next time. I think this is a great place to stop. If you have extra questions, everyone here and everyone on staff, there are 10 people, probably more on my staff that speak for me. I have limitless trust in them, in that we want to take care of people. We want to make sure that you have a good time, that you are set up for success. This is hard. We respect the effort. We respect the commitment. We're going to do everything we can to make sure you have a good week. And the one thing that I can guarantee you is that you're going to go home with the knowledge that you did something incredible. And you're going to carry that for the rest of your life. And you have a kernel, a nugget of toughness in you that is quantifiable that most other people don't have. This is a hard race. Is it fun? Hell yeah, it's fun. Is it awesome? Is it informal and irreverent? Yeah, sure. But there's some things we take really seriously, like your medical care on course, we take pretty seriously. Your preparation, we take seriously. Your commitment, we take seriously. We're grateful for your business. We love that you're here. And we want you to have a great week. And the universe is going to toss a bunch of curveballs and left turns at you while you're here. Like Mike Tyson had that famous line, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face. You're going to get hit in the face. But how we deal with that collectively from a community standpoint says a lot about who we are as humans. and there's never been a better time to put our best face and foot forward into the world. We are blessed to have Win Allen in our camp, to have JB, who has been not just an incredible athlete and champion, but there are a handful of patrons in the race. Travis Brown, Colby Pierce, Lachlan, Kat Nash, and Jeremiah Bishop. That list is short. Keegan. That is an illustrious list of human beings. Thank you so much for joining us and for giving us an hour of your lunch. We are going to edit the tail and the nose of this recording and publish it so everyone can see it. And we'll let you know when the next ones are. Before I go, Scratch Labs discount code Breck Epic 2025 will get you 20% off. We're working on a drop ship program with them, so you can order stuff from them and have it shipped straight to us for race week. So you don't need to lug it with you. And we'll have a bunch of their stuff out on course. That is all I have. Say goodbye, fellas.
Thanks for joining.
See y'all next time. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a great day. We'll see you in Breckenridge in August.
See ya.
Thank you.
Guys, nice job. That was awesome.
Yay.
You both communicated a ton of really useful, practical knowledge. This is how we start. This falls right under our heading of respecting and honoring our customer by not putting a price tag on stuff like this and just like supporting their experience qualitatively. I'm really, really grateful. There's not two better people to do this than you two. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Win.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
That was fun.
That was a good time. It really was. And it goes by fast, right? That hour is gone in no time.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that was an hour. That's cool.
Well, the quality of the company has a lot to do with that. That's you guys. That's a great list of attendees out there. We had about 50 people at its peak, and we've seen about 500 people digest the first one in some subsequent viewings, which will only go up as the person in charge does a better job of helping people find it.
What are the next couple or next few topics?
Well, our audience is really interested in 4 things. They want to know about gear, they want to know about nutrition, they want to know about training, and they want to know about the course.
Mm-hmm.
If we take 100 questions, 99 of them will fall under that heading, and the 100th will be about a refund. Refund period's over. Happy to give you a deferral at no cost. So when are the next ones and what are the topics? I'm working through that right now. There's a matrix we lay over with athletes, sponsors, resources, topics we need to cover. In general, we want to do one every 2 weeks. Cool. And identify the topics. There definitely is a coach the coaches thing. I talked to Rebecca Gross about the conversation you and I had yesterday about how we plug in some, okay, we're 4 months out. Here's your 4-month plan. And the Training Peaks people are interested. I think we just need to give them a roadmap. And the coaching sub economy is one that we really want to support. They're a conduit. They are intrinsic to the experience. Doing this without a support team or someone to prepare you physically is another layer of difficult. You have a body of knowledge that outstrips most people. Most people need help. So
yeah, no, I love that.
I'm curious to pick your brain about topics you think might interest you. I kind of have a list in my head, and we're at the point where people want to know how to plan for these 2 weeks in advance. So I want to publish that our attendees, and this one was phenomenal. It's great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. You have a shower to take. You have a bike shop to run. I have another podcast to get to.
Right on.
So
awesome.
Have a fantastic day.
All right. Have a great day. See you guys.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, guys. See you.
See ya.